Luvbugs. How are you guys doing? Welcome back, guys, to another video with your girl Carol. And today, guys, it is Monday Reset. No, it's not. It's Mind Reset Monday. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We may have had a little rough week last week. I kind of did because I allowed fear to kind of seep in. My mind has been all over the place. I'm trying to figure out my life and I'm going down the wrong road because one, God's not a fear. Two, what am I trying to figure out anything? Because God said he knows the plans for my life, plans to prosper me. And you know the rest, man. So what we doing? What are we doing? Doing. Anyway, guys, before we get into all of that and we talk about what we're doing, you guys already know, if you feel like you can benefit from some encouraging videos, by all means, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, click like, share, and comment. Okay, guys, so this morning I was fear. I think I had gotten overwhelmed with all the thoughts in my head, and I had to really get into the word. And so I looked up a few verses that talked about fear. And this verse, it stood out to me because it let me know that I am out of God's will when it comes to this. So the verse that stood out to me is 2 Timothy 1:7, and it says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and sound mind. So what stood out to me is God has not given us a spirit of fear. So God didn't give me this. So what am I holding on to it for? What am I allowing fear to seep up and I'm just riding the wave? Why? It has nothing to do with God. God did not put this in me. So what does it mean? Where did it come from? What is happening? I'm allowing the enemy to use me, and the enemy is allowing that fear. I'm allowing the enemy to use me, and I'm allowing myself to be paralyzed in this fear. And no, I've come too far to continue to allow fear to hold me back from anything that God has for me. And the fear comes from trauma. The fear, I've dealt with so many things in my past that I've overcame, but I will hold on to the past like it was a friend of mine, like it was my mom or my dad. Like that's how I was holding on to my trauma. I identified with it as my trauma. You know what I'm saying? So I would just go through life just fearful. Don't want anything to happen to my children. And it's not good to hold on to all of these bags of life that has no value and be a mother and be a wife, because you're allowing those things to guide you instead of allowing God to guide you. Come on, Carol. You're allowing those things to guide you instead of allowing God to guide you. And that is how I lived the majority of my life. I was a lukewarm Christian, and I idolized my trauma. I idolized the things of the world, and I didn't allow myself to fully surrender to God and allow God to order my footsteps and follow God. I didn't. And once I surrendered myself fully to him, I began to see things. I began to hear things. I began to tear down the walls, and I began to move totally different. Now, because you surrender, you still fall short because you've been so used to doing things. And I'm telling you, once you surrender and you begin to live under God's covenant, you start doing things the way that God wants you to, there are still some habits that you have to break. And when those triggers or those habits come up, then you know, okay, I got to work on this. This is something that I got to, Lord, help me remove this, because this has nothing to do with who I am today. And that is what I've been dealing with. And it's fear. It is fear. I've been dealing with fear as long as I can remember. And like I said, it comes from my trauma in my past. And so, example, my youngest son, got a car. And I'm scared for him to drive because I have a little anxiety about driving. I'm gonna handle that. But I have a little anxiety about driving, and so I'm projecting my feelings onto him. And so I took it upon myself to he works 45 minutes away. So I took it upon myself to, ride with him for a couple days. It's supposed to be a couple days, but I rode with him for a week. And during that week, it was hell. Peace was interrupted. I felt like I was the worst parent in the world because of how I was making him feel, and it was just chaotic. We was arguing. It was chaotic because, one, I was operating in fear that had nothing to do with God. God didn't tell me to get in that car with him. God didn't tell me to do absolutely nothing. God made sure that he was blessed with that vehicle. And God did his part. God didn't tell me to get in the car with him. He didn't tell me that, but I took it upon myself. So I stepped out of God's will and I started operating in fear. And it brought chaos. And once and I had dropped him off at work. Another example. Dropped him off at work, coming back to Jonesboro, and I almost got hit. Like 2.2 seconds, I would have been rolled over in the field somewhere. And God didn't allow me to get hit. And in that moment, I was so grateful and I was so thankful, but I was so at peace. And I just couldn't understand, why was I at peace? I almost, it was like 2.2 seconds and your girl would have been, I don't know. But I'm just so confused because why am I not crying? Why am I not shaking? I'm just at peace. And so, God started speaking to me, and God was like, the same grace that I just gave you is the same grace that I would give your children. Take your hands off of it. Yes. The same way that I saved you is the same way that I'm going to save your children. Take your hands off of it. Yeah. So, needless to say, after that, I was starting, because it was like, okay, I don't want to go against God, because he was off the next day. So as the day was passing, and it was, okay, he go to work the next day, I was starting to get anxiety out of God's will, starting to get anxiety, because it's like, I can't go against what God's telling me, but I don't want him, flesh fighting spirit, but I don't want him to ride by, just all out of order. But when I called him, he was like, I'm riding by myself. And I was like, cool, like, period. Like, like I did that. But anyway, God said, no, God, get out the way. God got this. The same grace that he gave me and gives me is the same grace that he gives my children. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. But does it still try to seep up? Yep. And it tried to seep up this morning. And I was reading, like I said, trying to just get some comfort, get some understanding what's going on, because this ain't what we about to do. And God gave me these verses, and boom. Yes. So I had to reset my mind and know that today and every other day, I choose faith over fear. I choose faith over fear, because y'all, when I surrendered to God, again, he just began to open my eyes to different things. I have a sense of peace in him that I have never experienced. It's not because I got a bank full of money. It's not because I stay in the biggest house on the block, or I got the nicest car. None of that. None of that matters, and none of that feels the way that this feels. Man, I just can't even explain it. And as I'm speaking, and this is transparent, as I'm speaking, my oldest son, everybody know how I am about my oldest son, baby. I'm this way about all my children, but it's just something about that one. And I love all my kids. No, I ain't gotta explain all that. But he's in jail, and I'm at peace. I'm at peace because I know that God loves him way more than I could ever love him. And I know that God is trying to get through to him without harming him. It seems bad, but it's not as bad as it could be. I know that God is giving him the grace and giving him the mercy that he gives me daily. I know it. So therefore, I sit in that. Therefore, I can't worry about tomorrow. I got to focus on today, and I pray every day I get up because he's going to be in there for 10 days, and this is day 4 or 5. I can't remember. Day 4 or 5. I can't remember. But I know that God has him. And I know that what he's going through is not going to kill him. And I pray that he gets the message that God is trying to give him. That is the prayer for all of my children. I pray that the scales come off of their eyes and they see Christ just as I do. That's the gift that I want to give to them, is Christ, because that is a gift that keeps on giving. Like, you never run out. You never run out. When you hold on to him, you never run out. So guys, what is holding you back? What has you paralyzed? What is stopping you from staying connected to God? What had you in a chokehold last week that you want to change this week? First of all, we got to make sure that we keep God first, center. We have to make sure we do that, because we cannot do anything in this world without him. We cannot do absolutely nothing in this world without him. So in the comments, tell me what is holding you back and what are you going to do different this week so you can move forward. So for me, I had to surrender that fear and give it to God and replace it with faith. I have to know that God got me, God got my children, and everything is going to be okay. And in knowing that, I find peace in him. I find peace in that, and I can go on about my day without it being chaotic, my mind being all over the place. And there are things that try to come into my day and in my life and in my week that try to knock me off. But because I'm standing 10 toes down for God and what he says, and when I'm starting to feel some type of way, I go to him and I go to the word. What does it say about this? How do I handle this? What do I need to do? What do you say about me in this moment? Because my identity is in him. It's not in the world and what the world says, but it's in him. So know that. Reset your mind to faith. Reset your mind to peace in God. Not of the world and what the world says, but in God. And I'm telling you, your whole life will change, and you will have a totally different outlook of life. I'm telling you. So yes, today is Mind Reset Monday, and we are eliminating fear. What is holding you? What situation in your life is having a chokehold on you? You're so fearful to do it. You're so fearful to move forward. Whatever it is, you know it's not of Christ. That's number 1, 2, and 3. You know it's not of Christ. So you got to eliminate it. And then 2, when you identify what it is, take it to God, and God will help you get through. His word is always going to stand strong, 10 toes down every time. I'm telling you, whatever you're going through, all you got to do is go to the word, and the word is going to tell you what to do, going to redirect you in everything else. I'm telling you. But guys, I'm not going to hold you long. I want you to have the most amazing, wonderful week. Yes, this is our refresh, a restart. We're resetting our minds to faith. Yes, we're going to replace that fear with faith. We're going to replace all of that fear and anxiety with trusting God and surrendering to him. Yes, yes, yes. So guys, I want you to come back Wednesday, because we're going to have a midday reset. Yes, we are. And yes, so have a wonderful, amazing, awesome Monday. Have an amazing, awesome week. And until Wednesday, until next video, I love you guys. Remember, faith over fear. Always. I love you. Mwah.